Welcome to the Lacing Up Podcast. I am Davidito, and we back like we never left. And since you're back, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Today's guest is coming to us from the UK. Okay, we're going to learn how she got into customizing, some of the obstacles that she may have faced with having a kid who has autism. She's been customizing shoes for over 10 years, has a true passion for art, and get to know her a little bit better. And welcome to the podcast.
Listen, it takes wisdom to grab these sneakers and spin them. Cut a couple of linen and match them up with the denim called Davidito. He'll cook it up like a kilo and have your Air Ones appropriate with the stilo. He's no Lilo, but he's mean with the stitch.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm excited.
Me too.
So starting off, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and who you are.
Okay, my name is Ange Lord. I'm based in the UK. I've been customizing since probably about 2013, something like that. Always loved art from being really, really young. Never kind of did anything with it until later. I'm an older customizer, as you can tell. So kind of ended up in lots of office jobs and, not doing anything really that I was, keen on doing with art and stuff. So had my son, who's now 18. And to cut a long story short, he's got autism. And one of the mums at my son's school kind of said, well, knew I was into art, said, why don't you have a look at shoe customizing? There's a big community on Instagram and Facebook. Why don't you set a page up? And I'd not done anything with it ever, no confidence whatsoever. So I had a look, found this massive community, just fell in love with it instantly. Set a page up on Facebook and Instagram, kind of followed a lot of the artists that I saw, kind of sussed out the paints and, what they were using and kind of things that they were doing. And my first kind of project ended up being something for my son who hates wearing most shoes. So kind of thought we could tap into that as well, and so my first pair of shoes was something for my son. And I painted minions on some Converse for him to try and get him to wear them. Kind of went from there, really. Ended up doing a lot more for the other kids at school. His mom, the mums all kind of asked me, will you do something for my son, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of very slowly grew from there to where now I'm kind of shipping art all over the world. So it's like, it just been a steady, slow burner, but it's certainly, it's taken off and I'm really, really pleased with it, really.
Yeah. So why did you choose shoes as your canvas rather than anything else? I mean, you could have said, oh, hey, I'm just going to pick up, this or wood or this panel or canvas board. And why did you choose shoes as your canvas?
I'd never heard of customizing. And as I say, one of the mums at school must have seen something on Instagram or Facebook and she kind of tipped me off with it, really, and then never said anything else. So I just started looking and just thought it was really unusual. It's tapped into what I needed to do with my son, get him to wear anything other than Crocs because, he's really resistant. So it just happened to be that, by painting something on his shoes, he started wearing them. And then it just, it was really bizarre. I would never have thought, like in 2013 that I'd be painting shoes. I'd never heard of it. Never really heard of the customization side of it. So it was I went down the rabbit hole of looking and following loads of different artists and just instantly loved it. Yeah, just fell in love with it. So it ended up being pretty much what I've done since, really. Yeah,
nice.
Strange journey, but it was a really good one.
Yeah. So you said you started in 2013. So
around then, yeah.
This now has become your business, right?
Yeah, it's more of a kind of a side hustle, really, I guess, because I'm a carer for my son, full-time carer for my son, so I homeschool him. So kind of the painting is as and when I can, a little bit of spare time and stuff, downtime. I find it really, painting's always been something that I've enjoyed doing. It's relaxing. It's kind of my bit of spare time, really, to not think about anything and to just do that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that exact question. Is it something that allows you to be in a space where you're engaged and like the world just kind of melts away, right? Like explain that experience a little bit.
Yeah, it's it kind of. I guess life gets kind of stressful, doesn't it, for everybody? So yeah,
Hmm.
you know, you're running around like a crazy person trying to get everything done, trying to pay the bills and everything. So it's just my time to just zone out, I guess. And yeah, when I'm painting, I'm very relaxed. I'm not really thinking about a great deal, obviously, other than what I'm painting. So it just always has suited me from being really young. I've always gravitated towards it. And when I don't do it, I kind of miss it. So I feel as though there's something missing. You know, I've got that urge to, just that creativity void that, yeah, I like to try and do as much as I can. I'm kind of limited. I've been a little bit limited recently. So things have kind of slowed down a little bit, but I'm hoping to have more time to paint as, you know, as my son gets older and stuff and, you know, all that type of thing. So obviously he's my priority
Yeah,
first
yeah.
and foremost.
So what originally got you into to doing art?
Always painted. I can remember my mum told me that, you know, like I was something like 3 when I picked up my first crayons or pencils and a bit of paper and I was drawing birds from the garden and stuff and just loved it. I don't know. It's just something that you've got in you, isn't it? I think. And so from then onwards, I'd always enjoyed art. I used to do loads of portraits and things. That's kind of my thing, really, I guess. So I'd be painting in other media like pastels, coloured pencils, and things like that. So the painting is more recent. As I say, when I started doing the shoes, I picked up the paints. Really, I'd never really painted until that time. So
Yeah.
massive learning curve, and thank goodness that there was loads of people on Instagram that, you know, that I could follow and get all the tips and stuff from. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So speaking of tips, like your let me say this first. Your artwork is phenomenal.
thank you. You're very
Um,
kind.
looking at it, I was like, holy crap, the detail in this is insane, right?
Thank
Um,
you.
so what are some tips that maybe you would give or say if someone's looking at trying to do a portrait on a pair of shoes?
Um, blimey, you know, because I don't think about it, I just do it. That's a difficult one. I guess
Mm,
for me, it's just practice, really. I kind of started at school and I would be painting all the, you know, the pop singers and rappers and Michael Jackson and Madonna, you know, that was kind of my era growing up in the 80s and stuff. So I'd always be drawing, pencils drawing, and then I moved on to pastels. So it would just be practice. Um, I used to use like the grid method where I'd start with a grid on my canvas or on my paper and put the grid over the picture that I was copying off. That's always a good start, I guess, to try and work just into little grids and focus on each individual one. Um, but just perseverance and practice and keep doing it, really. I mean, I'm in my 50s now, so I've been doing it for a long time, you know, and I think it's finding something, I guess, that you want to paint as well. I've
mhm.
always been drawn to portraits and things like that. So I always enjoy those particularly, you know, rather than other things. I mean, there's loads of other things that I enjoy painting, but portraits particularly. I like to try and get those details right and the faces and that likeness. And I always start with the eyes, I guess. That would be another tip. I don't know if that works for everybody, but if the eyes aren't right, then the rest of the face will never be right. So it's that, you know, striking that balance of getting each little bit as right, you know, as correct as you can. Obviously,
Mhm.
nothing's ever perfect, is it? There's always things when I look at stuff. I always see what I've done wrong or what I can do better, or I always see all the flaws. I don't know if you're the same with what you do. Um, yeah, I can look at something and I'm never happy with what I've painted. There's always many things in there that I think, you know, I wish I'd have done that a bit different, or next time I'll do that a bit different or stuff. I don't know if that's just like the
Yeah.
artist thing. I don't know.
So one of the things that for me whenever trying to do or paint a person or draw a person or something like that, I always feel
Yeah.
like the silhouette is so important. because I don't
Yeah,
want the face to be skewed or anything like that. And there's some iconic silhouettes that if you see, you're like, oh yeah, that's this person, you know?
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
I always
Yeah,
felt like the silhouette is extremely important
it is.
when trying to do like draw a person or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Um, but you mentioned something that's very, very interesting. How do you actually come to a point and say, okay, I'm done with this piece and I need to move on, right?
Well, I struggle with that bit, to be honest. I do. You know, I do spend a lot of time on the pieces that I do, and it is hard. That's something that I really struggle with. I do get to a point where I think, right, you know, if I'm happy with it, I say I've just said I'm never fully happy. It's just that that's just me. I can always spot things, but if I'm happy with it, you know, then that's it. You know, I don't want to leave it unless I'm satisfied that I've kind of done my best, I guess. So I always try and do that, no matter how long
Mhm.
it takes. So these,
Mhm.
you know, some of these projects can take a while. But yeah, I mean, and there's many times where I'll start painting a face and it's just not happening. Loads of times and I just start again. Because you get, I don't know if it's again with you, I get to the stage where there's no rectifying it sometimes, and I just have to, you know, white it all out again and
Mhm.
start all over again. That happens quite a lot.
Yeah. So how does that affect the your pricing and stuff that you would give to a customer, right? I know there's some people that have a standard price based on the level. There's some people that go by hour. How would that affect a price or anything that you were trying to work with a customer in that space?
I just charge a standard price.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. Because otherwise, you know, I recently did a handbag, and that took, you know, many weeks. It was really detailed. So I just work out you know, a price, a flat price, and however long it takes, it takes. I just love to paint, so you know, I just want to get it right, no matter how long it takes, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I work.
What would you say is a typical timeline for you to be able to finish a pair of shoes?
If I can paint, and you know, most of my days at the moment are kind of taken up with activities when I saw and I homeschool. So if I've
Mhm.
got kind of days here and there where I've got, you know, like somebody to take care of them and stuff, then I'll solidly have a few days here and there. So most pairs of shoes, I guess, take probably about a fortnight, maybe. If I can solidly paint for a whole week with no interruptions, then they probably take a week. You know what it's like. It depends on how detailed and stuff they are, but I do tend to deal with kind of detailed, and some take longer than that. I'm lucky that in that obviously I tell my clients that, you know, this is going to take approximately this long.
Mhm.
So I always try and keep them informed on how long it will take and everything. And if there's any like slight delay, regardless of, you know, what it is, I'll always try and keep them informed and stuff. But generally, yeah, a week if I can work solidly, longer if I'm not, you know, if I'm kind of busy with other things and stuff. So
Yeah, that line of communication back and forth between the customers is definitely huge for sure.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
I'm lucky because you know, I've got a lot of kind of repeat customers and stuff, and they do understand like my personal circumstances and stuff. So they know that, you know, I will get there if it takes a little bit longer sometimes. Most
yeah,
times it doesn't, but occasionally there'll be a slight delay. So I
yeah.
just let them know, and you know, everything's fine. So
What is your favorite shoe to customize and why?
I started out with Converse, and then I kind of got a few orders for Vans. I love Converse, but then I've done more kind of Nikes. I like Jordan. Really do like Jordans. I do paint Air Force Ones. I find Jordans, I don't know why, slightly easier, slightly flatter, maybe. I'm not sure whether that's just me, but I prefer high tops as well. Or
Mhm.
like the mids, you know, the Jordan mids and stuff. But I'll paint on anything really. If I, you know, if the paint will stick, then I'll give it a go. But it's mainly Converse and Vans and Nikes that I've done really. I've done some Doc Martens as well. They're pretty cool to paint on. Um, yeah, so I'll paint on anything.
Yeah. Would
Give
do
me a
you prefer
challenge.
prefer the leather over like a fabric?
I don't mind
Okay.
leather. Yeah, I mean, I think you've just got to make sure that you prep, haven't you?
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is, whether it's the fabric, you need the too soft or whatever to
Mhm.
so the paint will be all nice and flexible. But whatever, I don't really mind. I do enjoy
Yeah.
painting on leather. I think leather's perhaps a little bit quicker, maybe, possibly. Just depends on what I guess on what you're painting. I think the flat surface of the Converse and the Vans are definitely easier when you're painting portraits and things because you've got none of those, you know,
Mhm.
those bits that stick out and the Nike swoosh and everything to kind of
Yeah.
navigate around. So, but equally, I enjoy all of them. I don't really have a favorite.
Okay. Nice. Nice. What would you say has been the biggest thing that you've learned throughout your time of doing this?
um, Trying to be have confidence, I guess.
Mm.
Always, making sure that you're clear on the design, that the customer's fully happy with that. Most of the time, people will just let me do pretty much what I want, which is really good. But
Yeah,
if there's a
that's
set
nice.
design, yeah. If there's a set design, I always try and make sure that we're on the same page. So that's always important. I'd say one thing I have learned at my peril, and that is every time I get a pair of shoes, I make sure they're both the same size. As soon as I
Mm.
get them out the box, because I got caught with that once I painted it like the both shoes and realized that one was the wrong size. They'd put different size shoes in the box. So
Oh
that was,
no.
yeah. So that was a learning curve. So I always make sure as soon as I get the shoes now, I inspect them because sometimes you get the other one that's a little bit dodgy,
Yeah.
or if it's the wrong size. So I've definitely learned that one, and I don't know. I guess more trying to be have confidence in yourself. I guess you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all this is kind of a big learning curve, like the social media side. I find that's quite daunting at times. So it's trying to have confidence to do all that as well, I guess.
Yeah,
Just you know what I
I'm
mean? It's
curious of where the lack of confidence comes from. Like, and going through your page and looking at your art and everything and just like the amount of detail and how well it is and even to see
thank you.
like the growth, right? Like I could see from where you started and then where you've grown to and how much better it's gotten, right? Too. The work at the beginning
Thank you.
was really, really dope. And like I looked at, I believe it was maybe a pair of Vans you did a Freddy Krueger on, and then the
Yeah.
most recent ones that you did. And I'm like, it's you've grown so much and
It's
the detail is so amazing in it. Like
Thank
even
you.
some of the small stuff that I didn't even like the first time I saw it, I was like, oh man, this is dope. Look at the detail, look at his skin and everything, right? And then I go back and look at it and I was like, oh, I didn't even see the silhouette of him standing in the hallway at the bottom of him.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like constantly finding new things in there. So
Yeah.
I'm a
Thank
little
you. It's very kind of you.
perplexed in that space of like where where's the the lack of confidence coming from?
I'm an introvert, so
Uh-huh.
I find like the whole social media and getting yourself out, it's putting yourself out there. I think I've, as I say, I'm in my 50s, so kind of social media is a lot newer to me. It
Hmm.
wasn't around when I was growing up. That's my point. So I find that kind of challenging to try and put myself out there. I guess it's hard because I don't know. I don't know if you're the same. I find myself you slave over something, and it's like you get so attached. I don't know. I spend so much time on something, and then you think, oh yeah, I'm quite proud of that, and then putting it out there for people to either like or not like or be indifferent. I guess I find that you've got to mentally kind of think, well, you just got to get it out there, regardless of whether you get any eyes on it. I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's
Mm.
that kind of thing. And I mean, I've not really done anything like this before, so podcasts and things like that are are quite daunting for me. So it's, I don't know, I guess it's just because I'm not used to doing it, and I'm much better kind of in the shadows painting away, and not kind of being in front of the camera, I guess, and things like that. Maybe
Yeah.
it'll probably get easier, I guess. I hope anyway.
Yeah.
Um, it's just a different world. So, but you've got to be on it to kind of get yourself out there, haven't you? So I am trying, and I try and, get on there and post, and yeah. So it's that really. I'm
Yeah.
just used to be huddled away, sat in here painting away, and nobody seeing it other than my client or my family. So yeah.
Well, I definitely appreciate you, coming on for sure. Like I
Thank
said,
you.
I believe your artwork is really, really dope and phenomenal. So,
Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate that.
one of the things that I honestly believe is creating this problem solving. So, could you give us a story, example, or something of an obstacle that you came upon while you were painting or creating? And then how did you get over that obstacle? And then what was your end result?
Well, like I said before, many times I'll just start again, scrap it and start again. Um, because I get to the stage where I just think, there's no getting around this. This is not right. So I'll start again. I've already mentioned the shoe thing where
Mhm.
there was one a different. I've had one that was a different shade as well, where they look fine, and then you put them together and you think, oh, how sometimes they go yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Brand new pair of shoes straight out the box again. So problem solving with that. I ended up with both occasions having to buy another pair of shoes and repaint one of them. So it's like I'd finished. I finished them. So
Oh, that sucks.
so that's why now I check. I always check the shoes. I compare them and make sure that there's nothing kind of wrong with either of them. I make sure they're the right size, everything. So I
Yeah,
really got burnt twice with that one. So
yeah, that's rough.
um yeah, other than that, start again regularly. I'll scrap something and think no. But that's the beauty about it, though, isn't it? If you do it wrong, or if there's something you're not happy about, you can just paint it back out and start again. It's not ideal because obviously it takes a long time, but there's always that option, isn't there? If you've got nothing left, start again. So
Yeah, I recently was working on a pair and um I was putting a stencil on and it wasn't coming out right. My airbrush was acting a mess and
yeah,
I just had to take acetone to it and just wipe it back down to the bare leather and then start over. And I was like,
it's painful though, isn't it, when you
yeah,
have to do that? But
yeah.
yeah, painful. But at the end, you when you've done it again and you think, yeah, I'm happy with that now. It's worth it, isn't it? But
Yeah, it
it's
definitely felt a lot better once it was done and looked the way that I wanted it to, but it was
yeah.
still a pain in the butt to go,
Oh,
oh, let me
no.
just wipe it off and start over, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I get you. I feel you.
Yeah. Well, to have to buy another shoe and completely do it over after you're finished, oh my God, that,
I know
yeah,
that's just a nightmare scenario, really, isn't it? As a customizer, I guess. But it's my fault. Should have checked. So something that I always do now.
yeah,
As soon as
yeah,
they arrive, I'd get them, put them to one side, thinking I'm not working on those yet. I've got another month or another 2 weeks. But now they're straight out the box, and yeah,
yeah.
checked
Oh
over.
man. Oh, that's rough. That's rough. Um, what is something that you're working on now that you're excited about, or that's coming in the future that you're excited about?
I'm working on these, which you've probably seen, the Freddy
Mm-hmm.
ones. So I've not finished the other side yet. So looking forward to getting those done, getting the other shoe done. I'm kind of working on it as I'm going. I haven't really got a specific plan other than that I'm going to make some changes on the front, put some slash marks, maybe some of his skin poking through. Other than things that are coming up, I'm having a break from custom orders. And I'm going to work on some ideas that I've had for a while of my own and stuff. So looking forward to doing that. Yeah, I want to do some canvases as well as the shoes. I mean, I customize the jackets and the bags and purses and shoes. So I want to try and get some canvases done. I'm kind of lean. I want to get. I love painting portraits, and I've got loads of ideas for various rappers and other people
Mhm.
that I want to paint and stuff. So I want to get some of those done. Just like passion projects, really. I guess
Yeah.
things like
So,
that coming up. So
so what is driving you from taking customer orders to doing your own artwork?
Um, well, last year I had to have some major surgery, so I had that done, and it's kind of taken me last May. It's taken me till kind of now to kind of be able to sit and paint really very much. So I've had that, and I've had a lot on with my son and stuff, various appointments and therapy stuff like that. So I kind of took the decision last year to just clear the boards for a while because I didn't want to keep people waiting. I didn't want a list of customers wondering, how long are they going to take and stuff. So I just thought, just have a break for a while. I kind of got a bit burnt out as well because, as I'm sure you know, with like juggling family and things like that, my time was kind of limited on painting. So I was kind of painting at like 2 and 3 in the morning, trying to looking after my son during the day and then painting in the early hours and stuff. And I did it for a long time, quite well, but then it kind of caught up to me. So it just became a little bit much with trying to juggle both. So, and obviously having the surgery and stuff. So I just thought I'll just have a break, recharge my batteries, work on some passion projects for a while, where you've got kind of no pressure,
Yeah.
as and when I can. So I haven't got thinking, oh, I can't get anything done today. I've got this, that, and the other with my son. So, there's no pressure really on me from that. So, and
Yeah.
then when things settle down again, I'll be full bore again and taking custom orders and stuff. It just seemed like the right thing to do for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Finding that space to be able to take care of you and also get some of those, things that are in your head out.
I've got
Um,
loads of things. I've got a massive list of things, I get all these ideas, I write them down, put them on my phone, and I think, oh, I really want to paint that, but then I guess when you've got a steady stream of custom orders, you never get to that list. I don't know if you're
mhm.
the same, but yeah. So I just wanted to just take a bit of time out. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
do
for
that for a
sure.
while.
For sure.
I will come back. I will be coming back to it and stuff. So yeah, it's just a temporary, a pause.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're doing better and you came out of your surgery well. So that's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. For
Thanks.
sure.
Appreciate that.
So do you ever find yourself in the space of where I guess I would say you're having artist block or creativity block. So just really
Yeah.
quick for me, it's weird. I could be doing nothing for a long time and not have any ideas, right? And
Yeah.
then I start doing something and then it's like idea after idea after idea just starts flooding through. Um,
Yeah.
how do you deal with that? And then do you have it?
I do. Yeah. Definitely. My husband laughs at me. He'll say, why are you faffing around? Just get it painted. And I'm thinking, I can't. I've got to be in that. You've got to be in that mindset, haven't you? If something's just
Hmm.
not working, very often I'll put it to one side and just like wait it out for a while. And then you just suddenly get an idea. Do you get that where you just think,
Hmm.
this is what I'm going to do with it? So it happens a lot. And I think with also kind of working on that list, it kind of, I don't know if you're the same, it like recharges my batteries with it all, just to paint something that I've been looking forward to doing, or somebody that I want to paint, or and I think that helps stepping away from perhaps that project that you're struggling with, and then go on to something else and then come back to it. Yeah, I do that quite a lot.
Yeah, definitely something that you're excited about doing.
Yeah,
Definitely helps um,
yeah,
kind of feed
absolutely.
the personal artist in you,
You've got to, haven't
Sure.
you? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 definitely.
yeah. Have you got a list as well?
Oh yeah, I got a bunch of stuff. I got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
I have so many different pieces and so many different directions that I want to go in and dabble in and that kind of thing. So
yeah,
yeah, oh man, it's a yeah.
yeah.
and then trying to figure out which one do I want to do first, and okay, which one's going to take the most time, right? Like, I feel like one of the things that I always do is misjudge the amount of time that it's actually going to take to make something, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I can get that done in a week, or I can get that done in a weekend because it's pretty simple and straightforward. And then next thing I know, it's two,
Mm.
3 weeks later, and I'm like,
Yeah.
God darn it, like,
Yeah.
so
Same, the same. Yeah. I'm the same. Yeah. But I sometimes get into the mode as well where I've got that many ideas that I find I can't focus on just cutting it down to one as well. I don't know
hmm
what that's about, whether that's just me or whether that's a regular thing for other people as well. I
it
get
is, it's regular.
overwhelmed by the ideas.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
regular. Yeah. I have
Yeah.
probably, I want to say about 3 or 4 different ideas right now that I want to do.
Yeah.
And part of my excuse was, oh, you don't have all the materials for it. But now I have
Yeah.
all the materials for them, for all of them. And I'm like, okay, which one do I do first?
Mm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm the
So
same.
it
Yeah.
happens.
It does. But then suddenly it becomes clear and you think, right, this is what I'm going to do. And then it
Yeah,
flows. It's really strange, isn't it? It's like,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, all part and parcel of it
yeah.
all.
This episode of the Lace My Podcast is sponsored by Davidito Designs. Davidito Designs is my website. It's where you can go and cop some merch. You can also go there and put in a request for some custom shoes. Yep, you heard it right. You can put in a request for some custom shoes, all right? Take whatever vision, idea that you may have and take that and put it on a pair of shoes. Great for any gift that you're thinking of. I don't care if it's Christmas or Valentine's, if it's a player cleats for football season, whatever the case may be. If you want to rep your favorite sports team, basketball, hockey, football, whatever, you name it. Go there, put in a request form, and I'll see you over there. Question that this is one of the questions I probably ask almost on every episode,
Okay.
but it's sometimes very, very difficult, especially for people who've been doing this for a while. So, you said since about 2013.
I think so. Yes. I'm
Okay.
sure that seems about right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
So
long time.
give me your top 5 custom shoes that you've created.
Right. Well, there's probably two pairs here. So I did the GTA. I don't know if you can see them
Mm-hmm.
on camera.
Mm-hmm.
These are both for my son.
Okay.
The Halloween ones. Um, I did some, let me think, some Bob Marley Converse. There was one particular pair that I did quite a while ago, probably now. I'm trying to think what else is there. That's 3, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I did a pair for that ended up being shared on Snoop's page. It was for his record company for a launch of one of his albums. I think it was called "I Want to Thank Me,"
Oh,
and
cool.
it wasn't my original art. They wanted me to like copy the album cover onto some shoes, so I did those. That was pretty cool. I'm trying to think, how many is that? Is that 4?
That's 4. You got one more.
And I did another pair. Again, it was the same record company that ended up going to XXX Tentacion's mum. I did like a giveaway again for them, and I managed to do a pair for her, which was really cool. I got the opportunity to do that, so that was nice. So, but you know what? I've done so many. There's been so many that I just love painting. So
Yeah.
there's probably others, but anything for my son is particularly a favourite for me. You
Yeah.
know, I want to do more for him and stuff. So I've done loads of space ones for him. There's probably too many to mention, but yeah. So he's always the top one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
it was
Um,
really
well, give me one tip for someone who is new, who is wanting to start customizing. What's one tip that you would give them?
start off and paint something that you really want to paint, just a passion project. on and just go for it. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, just paint it again. Take your time. Try and put your spin on things. And post it. Post it online. Set a page up. Post it, and be brave and do it. I think it's really cool to see people's, like you said earlier, about how your art comes on over the years that you're doing it and stuff. And again, it's having that confidence to just get stuck in and do it. And there's a massive community, so follow as many artists as you can, and they'll always help. We're really supportive of each other, aren't we? It's a really good community, so it's always easy to ask questions to people will answer. There's so many people out there. I just think it's amazing. I love it. But go for it. Just do it. Get a pair of shoes, whether it be Converse or Vans or whatever, Nikes or anything that you want to paint, and just do it. Start. Yeah. Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
I'm the queen of doing that, I tell you.
there's a lot of stuff to learn on the journey, right? You'll learn as you go and get better. So
yeah,
you
you're
gotta
always
go down
learning.
Yeah,
no matter. It's always cool, isn't it, to learn and to watch other people's work. See what see the tips and pointers that they've got, and absolutely.
Yeah.
So just all day.
I see that you've done, like you said, a lot of portraits, right?
Yeah.
What is the portrait that you haven't done that you really want to do, and why?
Oh, blimey. You know what? I don't know. You throw me now. There's so many. I've probably done. I've done a lot. I was going to do something Billie Eilish soon, I think. But I have already painted it, but it's a long time ago. So I'd like to do a retake on that. Yeah, I can't really think of anybody specific. There's just, I'd like to do Ice Cube. He's on my list. I want to do, I don't know, like a East Coast, West Coast rap thing. I'm like a 90s, 90s rap fan. So probably things along those lines, really. You've thrown me with that one. There's lots of horror characters I want to do. I love horror characters and stuff. So I'm sure there's many of those that I've not done yet. But whatever somebody kind of throws my way, I'll generally have a go at. But I'm a big fan of like music and stuff. So that's kind of my go-to. And kind of movies. I want to do some kind of 80s stuff, portraits with some classic 80s movies. I'm thinking on sneakers as well. So I don't know. So some tributes to some various classic movies that I always wanted to do E.T. and all those, and you know what I mean. Got kind of ideas. Whether they'll turn out like, I don't know. But the classic, the movies, I guess, that I kind of grew up with. So
yeah, every time I hear E.T., all I can hear is Phone Home.
I know. I do love E.T.
Yeah, and just see that little bicycle going past the moon. That's it.
I know, and then with this pot plant as well.
Yeah, exactly.
My son loves 80s stuff, so we're going through the whole, the whole lot of the 80s movies. We're educating him on the 80s, so he just loves things like E.T. and all the classic Gremlins, Ghostbusters, all the classic ones. I'm showing my age now, but
hey, I love all of those too. So no,
they don't go out, do they? Yeah. So
I grew up on them. So if you had one album, only one album for the rest of life to be able to listen to, what would be that album and why?
Anything with Tupac, to be fair, because I'm a big fan. So any of his albums.
Okay. Is there
Yeah.
any one specific that jumps out to you?
Not really. I just love anything.
Okay.
Tupac, Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What's the
Yeah.
draw?
I don't know really. I just I just think he was like a genius, a lyrical genius and one of a kind, I guess. So
Hmm.
I like his message as well, he's yeah, I just kind of grew up listening to him. There's so many of others though, to be fair. There's others. But I always I do love painting him. I painted him a lot.
Hmm.
I never get tired of painting him. But as I say, I want to do more kind of rap artists and stuff,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
old school ones. So,
Yeah. So give me your top five rappers or hip hop artists.
well, obviously Tupac, Ice Cube. I used to love NWA.
Okay.
Kind of along those lines, really. Biggie. Well, just like I love generally, I love music. So there's all different
Yeah.
varieties of music I listen to. So it depends on kind of what mood I'm in as well. But no, normally, ordinarily, I've got like a bit of 90s rap on, but then it goes right to the other side of other things as well. I've got
Yeah.
such a wide variety of music I listen to, depending on what mood I'm in and stuff. So yeah, loads from even like stuff like swing and all sorts of stuff, 80s music, generally Michael Jackson, just everything really, a bit of everything.
Yeah.
I'll listen to
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I love hip hop, obviously, but I grew up listening to R&B and Michael Jackson and like that kind of stuff. So that's really
Yeah,
kind of, my thing in that space when it comes to music. So I
yeah,
I don't know, they provide different energies, in when you're doing different things, but I
absolutely.
like R&B because then I'm in there singing along and just, having a good old time.
So many classics as well. When you go
Yeah.
back onto the old playlists and you think, oh, I've not heard this one for years, and
Yeah. And it's funny though, because that'll happen and then the I don't know where it's ingrained or stored in us, but then you just start
yeah,
remembering the words and you're like, I didn't even know that I
yeah,
remembered the words to this song, like that.
absolutely.
It happens all the time.
My music goes all the way across to like Nirvana. It's just so wide.
Yeah.
Yours is the same. I just listen to all sorts of different things. I
Yeah.
tell you, I do want to paint, and I've kind of Amy Winehouse. I'd love to paint her on something.
Mhm.
So there's like a massive list of stuff and musical artists and stuff that I'd like to paint.
Yeah.
I've not painted Michael Jackson other than like the Thriller. I did start a pair of Thriller ones and kind of stopped halfway through, so I might finish those one day. They were a passion project. So, but again, all these ideas, and then I get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
so, so I shelve it for a bit and think, oh, I'll come back. I'll come back to that one at some point. But
Yeah. I've done that too on a couple different things. I have a skateboard that I started a while back and it's probably about halfway done. And then I
yeah,
was just like, it's just sitting on the shelf now. It's I need to finish it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've done that. I've got I started a jacket when I started back after my op and stuff. And Eminem's album had just come out, his newest one. And I thought I would paint him on a jacket. And I got him there with like the chainsaw,
Mm,
and I was going to do a grave with like Slim Shady on the floor. I
hmm.
don't, probably sounds horrendous, but I got this vision, and I got partway through and thinking, I'm going to get this on. I'm going to get this on Instagram, and and I never finished it. I ran out of time, and then that moment had gone. So that it's still there
Yeah.
waiting. So I
Well,
don't.
I would say this, our community would love to see it. So
And I didn't post it now because that
yeah.
moment's gone. So I haven't. I might do. I'll try and finish it. But yeah, he's got the hockey mask on, and he's got the chainsaw. And yeah, I was going to try and get that done. I'll see. we'll see. But yes, I've got lots of things like that I've started and thought, I'll come back to that.
Yeah, yeah. That's one
Mm,
of the things too that I've always struggled with is figuring out what to post, when to post, that kind of thing.
mm,
Um, because I almost feel I don't know what it is, but there's this feeling of I can't post it one until it's finished.
yeah,
And then two, I don't want to post it before the customer gets to see it in hand.
yeah,
Right. Like, so those
yeah.
two things I'm always battling with. There's stuff that I want to post right now, but I'm like, I don't know if they've received the package or not yet. They haven't, like I'm
They've not
still
let you know.
waiting.
Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
don't know
So,
yet. Yeah, I
or
get
or
you.
I'm working on, I'm like, I want to post this, but I probably shouldn't. I should probably wait, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just,
Absolutely.
I don't know. Sometimes our minds play these little tricks on us and we're trying to figure out, how to navigate and fight through that and get to, where we need to be or where we want to be. So,
Yeah, and it's like when you're happy, if it's like a work in progress, you think, do I post it now? Do I do a bit more? What do I do? So I have that one as well where I think, no, I just do a little bit more on it, and then 3 days will pass.
yeah.
And I'm probably still in the same part. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like I said before, I do struggle with my confidence. So it's like, I'll think, oh no, I'm not going to post that yet. Not happy with that
Yeah.
yet to post, even if it's like a work in progress.
Yeah.
So, mm,
So what does your work setup look like when you're attacking um a pair of shoes, especially with doing portraits and that kind of thing? I can only imagine how much color blending that you have to do to get all the different tones and shapes and, or yeah, shades and everything else to be able to, paint and function from there. Are you
yeah.
using like the same brush for details and just washing it out in between each color? Like, what does that look like? Because we got to put a lot of thin layers on stuff to make it even look the way it's supposed to. So, what does
Yeah,
that look like for you?
I do. I mean, I do tend to gravitate towards like the world's smallest brushes. And now I've got like a pot at the side of me, and there's the favorites. So you think, well, this is taking me way longer than if I got that, that great big brush. But yeah, I get like, do you get the say you get favorite brushes that you stick to? Yeah,
Yeah,
they're quite fine, I guess. Most of them are quite
they're sitting
fine.
right here.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I do tend to use probably brushes that are too small, but I get favorites, so I get quite attached to them. Certain
Yeah,
ones, certain sizes. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? You get habits into that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've even had some that I'm like, this is almost where I want it to be, and I'll cut a couple of couple of hairs off of it just to get the shape that I want or the point that I
Yeah.
want or something like that.
And you've always
Yeah.
got that favorite brush that the hair goes straight out the sides when
Hmm.
it gets a little bit, yeah. And you
Yeah,
think,
I got several of those. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I do get through a lot of the fine ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of them that I think I don't use any of those bigger ones, could just stick to like the two or three different sizes and I'd be quite happy with those, really.
Yeah, your work is way more detailed than anything that I've done so far. So I do get to use some of the big ones just to cover more space. But yeah, I definitely have my favorites. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I have to make sure that I move my coffee as well because I'll get carried away and I'll dip my paint
Oh
in
no.
into my drink. That happens loads of times to the point where I have to put my coffee or tea like completely out of reach because I just go straight in it. I don't know what that's about. I don't know
Yeah,
if anybody else does that. If it's just
yeah.
me, could be just an Ange thing. I don't know, but
No, no, it's
happens
not.
regularly.
It's not. I haven't quite. I've caught myself right before doing it.
Mm,
Um, but I did have a scare the other day. I had a drink and a bottle of nail polish remover, but it was 100% acetone.
yeah.
And I took a sip of my drink and then I reached for and I was like, oh my God, I'm glad I didn't grab the wrong bottle.
That could have been unfortunate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that could have been not good at all. So I was like, we should work on putting these in different spaces, or
I know.
you just don't have a drink while you're doing this prep portion of it.
I know. I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
I don't know what it is with me because obviously your coffee or your tea doesn't look anything like your paint pot, does it? But your water pot, but there it happens every time. Yeah. So I have
yeah,
to really try and think, right, I'm going to put that right over the other side of the room almost. And then I forget it's there and leave it. So
yeah, yeah, for sure, for
it's not
sure.
as bad when when you've drank most of it and there's only a little bit left. It's when you've just made it as well, which, yeah,
Yeah, you're
straight
like,
into it.
I
Oh,
gotta dump this one out and start over. Yeah,
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 absolutely.
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we would be in great company if we did that because I believe Picasso also ate his paint, so
Oh,
we would be in great company if we did that. So
no, that's true. I didn't
um,
know that one.
I don't know
Okay.
if it went too well on his mental, but however, we would
No.
definitely be in great company
Yeah.
in that space.
Yeah. I've not tried to eat anything, so I'm going to stay away from that one.
Yeah,
I'll
me
keep
too.
food out of my out the studio
Yeah, for
because
sure.
that
Me
would
too.
happen. Probably be dipping something in the paint and then eating it. Yeah,
Yeah, that would not be good.
not be
Not good.
good.
No. An acquired taste, as they would say.
Yeah.
Uh, so, question for you. If you had one person, let's say famous celebrity, that you could create something for, who would
Mm.
it be and why?
I'm going to have to say Tupac again, aren't I? Or Kurt Cobain. Somebody. Yeah. I don't know what I'd make, but something.
Mhm.
I'd have to put a bit of thought into it, but I would love, yeah. I'm kind of an Elvis fan as well, so he'd have to be in there maybe.
There you go.
There's so many. There's so many, honestly. I could probably
Yeah.
give you, if you give me 10 minutes, I'll probably have a list of about 50. Amy Winehouse, I definitely want to paint her. I don't know, I'm a big fan. I don't know why she's massively on my list. So, yeah, I kind of got
Yeah.
in mind some sort of, 50s kind of vintage thing with her on it. I don't know what though yet. I'm going to think about that one. But
Yeah.
whether it be a bag or a jacket or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Do you
yeah.
find yourself at any point trying to tell a story or create something in that space when you're trying to paint or come up with an idea?
Yeah, and I think that's probably when I start overthinking things. I mean, with these Freddy Krueger ones that I'm doing now, again, this is a passion project. So I thought I want to tell the story of A Nightmare on Elm Street, but then I get bogged down with, yeah, but do I do like the sequel?
Hmm.
Do I just do the first one, which is the one that I really loved,
Hmm.
And it terrified me when I was a kid. So, but I
Same.
get,
Yeah.
yeah, I get kind of overwhelmed with, you have so many ideas, and you've got so many sides of a shoe, haven't you, to do it on? Obviously, you've got two.
Hmm.
So it's kind of thinning it out into what I want to do. And I'm having that exact battle with these shoes because it started off, I'd just done the color scheme, the jumper and like the glove. And then I thought, no, I want to paint him on it. I want to do more with it. So, but then so it's kind of evolved from not really having a specific plan of what I wanted to do, other than I want to do Nightmare on Elm Street. And then it's just appearing as it does. It's just taking shape as I'm painting it. So when I posted the first version not too many weeks ago on my page, I think I put on it, this will change probably 5 or 10 times, something like that. And it will, and it does. It happens a lot. I'll start going down this road because I'll have like a vague idea, and then it'll change completely. It'll go, down a completely different avenue, no pun
Yeah.
intended, with Nightmare on Elm Street. But yeah, it will change. And yeah, just evolve as it comes. It just, I think, oh, I'm going to do that now. And then it goes on. And then I think, no, I hate that. So I'll paint it out. So
Yeah. So that makes me curious of like your process for um creating? Do you draw it out? Are you, making it on like an iPad or something first, or
No,
is it
not that
just all out of?
sophisticated. I'm not that clever, sophisticated. It's very much, I'm old school. So I'll get some pictures that I like and try and change them, as much as I can and take little bits and tweak things. And yeah, but I wish I could do the mock ups on an iPad. I would love to be able to do it. That's kind of on my list of things to suss out and learn, I guess.
Mhm.
Because loads of people do it and they're like, it's so easy. But the thought of doing it, just like, I think, I don't know if I can do that. So, yeah,
You can do it.
pathetic. That sounds a bit pathetic. But, but I'm old school. So I'll just get a picture and I'll print it out and I'll change it and I'll offer it up on the shoe. I'm very old school. And then I'll start sketching it out and stuff. So, or I'll just have that idea in my head and just kind of go for it on it. I mean, I'd love to use stencils and all sorts of stuff, but again, I've not gone down that route. Other than
Yeah.
kind of my own paper stencils that I'll perhaps do with the shape, you know, very, very old school.
Yeah.
You
So
see all these people with the stencils and they're cutting them out and like you think, oh, I wish I could do that. Can't even get it to stick,
you
So
can do it. You can do it. You can definitely do it. It's just getting the right material and then
yeah.
manipulating it. You can do it. And the patience. And you
Mm.
have the patience. I can see from your artwork that you have the patience. So you can definitely do it for sure.
Perhaps not with the weeding out the stencils. I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah. But you could do it for sure. You could do it. It just like the rest of it is just learning and going through the process. So I like to do mock-ups either on a computer or on my tablet
Yeah.
now, but when I first started out, I didn't have any of that. So to
Yeah.
create a stencil, I would take some tape and lay it out,
Mm.
draw on the tape, and then cut it out with an X-Acto knife, and then
Yeah.
put that on the shoe, and that would be my template.
That's kind of what I do.
Yeah, that's how I started, and then
Mm.
kind of continue to grow from there.
Yeah.
But now I use a Cricut, but I still draw like a lot of my stencils. I'm working on some right now to do some portraits, and I haven't done a portrait, and I can't tell you when. It's been a long time. But like I said earlier, the silhouette for me is what's important. So
Yeah.
I've sketched out the silhouette on my iPad, just the line work,
Yeah.
and I'm going to take that and turn it into my stencil,
That's good.
and then I'll have a framework to work from,
Yeah.
um, and then just kind of take it from there. But yeah, so I'm just curious because everybody's process is a little bit different,
Mm.
for sure, for sure.
Mm.
And how we do stuff is very, very different. That's why I was also curious about like, um, what was your method for the detail and how to get to that space? Because my
Yeah.
thought process would be that it's a slow, gradual buildup of these different things. But I didn't know if you like did a back coat on the canvas so you had something to work from or whatever the case may be. So I was just curious in that space. That's why I asked that earlier.
Yeah. I mean, with you can get I can get the silhouettes. I tend to freehand, but if you're
Mhm.
kind of concerned with where your placement of your, like, it's like the features, isn't it? Getting the features in the
Mhm.
right place. You could always make a stencil with where the eyes are and the point of the nose and stuff and the mouth, and then kind of take it from there. At least you know that they're in the right area and they're kind of the right size. Because I have a tendency also sometimes to draw, you look and you think that looks okay, and then I'll think, oh, that eye is slightly bigger than the other, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it's so that's always good to pinpoint where the tip of the nose is, the mouth, and then just fill it in after, I guess, the eyes. But yeah, what you say about the silhouette, absolutely, it's you've got to get it right. I mean, with there's so many different parts, isn't there? I guess when you think about
Mhm.
it, getting those features in the right place, getting that shape right, and you can tell people, can't you, from the silhouette?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely,
For sure. For sure.
yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I mean,
Well,
people could use a cutout of a character, cut the eyes out, cut where the nose out, and just mark it all on on the shoe and then take it from there, I guess.
Yeah. I've
Different
done
ways
that
of doing it.
before too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't on a shoe, it was on a skateboard. But yeah, I've done that before
What
too.
did you paint? What you painted on your skateboard that you?
The one that I didn't finish. So
Yeah.
I wanted to do several different people who I feel like in culture, skateboard culture, have been made some type of mark, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But I wanted to do it in a Simpsons theme.
Right.
So I started with Bart Simpson, and then I did one of then there's also Lil Wayne
Yeah.
on a skateboard. And then there's Tony Hawk
Yeah.
in there on a skateboard. And then there's Marty from Back to the Future
Oh, cool.
on his hoverboard.
Yeah.
So there's all four of them kind of in a skate park.
Nice.
And one's doing a trick over here, another one's doing a trick over here, and the other two are just kind of standing around.
Nice.
So the most of the characters are done, but I still need to go in and do like the little details and stuff and
Yeah.
finish painting the park and all that kind of stuff. So
I'm gonna have to see that then when you're finished. I'd like to see.
yeah, it has to be one of those things that comes off the shelf.
Yeah. Yes. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I do know what you mean. Same with that jacket. I'll try and do that as well. We'll have to, make a bet with each other.
Yeah,
We'll
there
both
you go.
finish
Yeah.
finish those projects.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes it more interesting though, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. But I want to say thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Last question for you. Where can people follow you? Where could they see your artwork?
I'm on Instagram, more kind of active on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I really want to post more on YouTube as well. And it's Kicks with a Z, Queen Customs. So yeah, on there. All the same name, Kickzqueencustoms.
Awesome. Thank you.
I've got a website as well. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, you're good.
Yeah, got a website as well, and that's kickzqueencustoms.com. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
There you have it, folks. Another episode of the Listen My Podcast. And thank you again for being a guest. I greatly appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, subscribe. Tell a friend. Share this episode with them. Share the channel with them. I greatly appreciate your support. Thank you again for watching. If you made it this far, you're a real one. And remember, until next time, fear is fake. Creating is problem solving. Peace.
Whoa. Listen, it takes wisdom to grab these sneakers and spin them. Cut a couple of linen and match them up with the denim called Davidito. He'll cook it up like a kilo and have your Air Ones appropriate with the stilo. He's no Lilo, but he's mean with the stitch.